Welcome into the Hard Count here in Atlanta, Georgia, College Football Hall of Fame at SEC Media Days. It is Thursday, July 17th, 2025. Last one on the face of the planet. Man, we got a stacked show. It's been a stacked week, honestly. Anytime we get to be on location, it's just so fun, right? Because you're kind of in the mix of everything. Like you walk around Radio Row, some are calling it Digital Drive, but you walk around here and it's just like college football Twitter come to life. You got Matt Moscona from Baton Rouge over here. You got SEC Mike over there. You got Josh Pate over there. It's just like it's just a blast to be here in the mix of it all. And also, by the way, just sprinkle in college football people walking around. Billy Napier on Radio Row. John Mateer, we got him on the show here. Actually, conversation for you coming up here in a matter of moments. Big fan of John Mateer, the human being as well, is all I'll say to preface that right now. But someone asked me the other day during a radio hit, this is the year of blank in the SEC. And I'm going to say it for the SEC. I think you could also say it for college football in general. This is the year of uncertainty. I think this is the most open the SEC has ever been. I think this is the most open college football has ever been. And some of that you point to the transfer portal. Some of that you point to realignment. I think it's kind of just the perfect storm. Like, look across the sport. We've said this ad nauseum, as is everybody else on the microphone. Bunch of big dogs in the sport. The Texas, the Ohio State, the Georgia. New quarterbacks they're breaking in. Now, they're dudes with a lot of stars next to the name. Dudes that I believe in that they're breaking in. There's no guarantee that Gunnar Stockton just takes Georgia to another SEC title. There's no guarantee that Arch Manning from the jump is the dude. Like, there's a lot of things that we're still waiting and watching. Isn't that just like the best part of this time of year? We all know nothing. All of us. And it's wonderful. Embrace it. It is bliss. Nobody has played a game yet, man. Nobody's lost a game yet. So if you're a college football fan, if you're watching this show, make sure you're subscribed. Like all my college football sickos here. We about to be our time. But right now, like, you have every reason to be optimistic. You have every reason to believe in your team. And right now, with the year of uncertainty, you have even more ammunition to believe in your team. Because there's a bunch of dudes at the top of this whole thing, dudes being really good teams, that we don't know what they're getting at quarterback. So I just mentioned, loaded show for y'all today. We're going to start with the John Mateer conversation. We're going to talk about the Arch Manning madness that happened here in Atlanta. Got a conversation with TexAgs Billy Liucci at the end of this thing. But we're going to whip around the SEC here and talk some ball. But without further ado, here is the Oklahoma quarterback, John Mateer. Here with the best flow at SEC Media Days, Oklahoma quarterback, my guy, John Mateer. Man, welcome.
Thank you.
This is a good time. How's it been at Media Days for you so far?
It's good. I think this is my 8th interview in the last hour.
So you're warm. So you're like
good.
The engine is red.
My first one was right down there, SEC Network. I was like, oh, here we go. Nice start.
Opening kick.
Yes.
Prime time. Love it, man. Well, I got to start here, bro. What goes into the flow? Because I talked to Jackson Dart a year ago, and he's like, I do sea salt spread. You have any just walk me through the process there. I know you're a process guy.
Can you tell me more about Jackson Darts? And then
you just said sea salt spread.
That's it?
Yeah, that was it for him.
I tried it a couple months ago. It didn't do a whole lot for me. I've heard it makes it curlier. It makes it stick. Like, it makes it stay.
Yeah.
But I used to shampoo every day. And then I learned that it's not taking the best care of your hair.
Okay.
So I shampoo like twice a week. Condition every other day, or like every day that I shampoo, and then I just brush it back and it just falls.
The rest is God given.
My dad has good flow. He's an older fella. Love him. Shout out, Dad. And he still has it. Still has a good lineage. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I got to ask this too. So we got the flow. No real nickname has stuck.
Yeah,
half from a good source that you're not a big nickname guy in terms of people giving you. Heard Johnny Paycheck was a thing in Pullman.
Yeah, did you hear that from Coos?
I did hear that.
My line coach Kessler, another shout out, used to call me Johnny Paycheck.
Is that sticking? Like, what do you like to be called?
I really don't. I mean, Johnny Football is badass. Sorry,
that's hard. No, you're good. You're good.
But I mean, Johnny Manziel has it.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I mean, some could end up sticking. Nothing has yet.
Okay.
Johnny Paycheck's pretty cool.
It's a different Paycheck's sick, dude.
Yeah, well, if it sticks, I got no problem.
Especially in the NIL age, that's a good one to have. I'd have to imagine.
I mean, it fits.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. Well, I want to start here, man. On the football side, what would you tell my guy right here? What would you tell him about what he's about to go be when it comes to playing college football?
Yeah, looking back at that kid, I'm real proud. That was at a Rivals camp. It says it on the back. And I don't remember how old. I was young. I thought it was hard, obviously, but he wanted to be where I'm sitting right now, and every dream, every night was to be where I'm sitting right now. So I got no regrets with how anything happened. This kid worked real hard, and I'm proud of him.
What was the recruiting process like for you? Because obviously now you're in the SEC.
Yeah.
You were at Wazoo, and it sounds like they kind of came into the picture late.
Yeah.
Walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't really get recruited.
Me neither, by the way. Yeah. Happens to the best of us. Happens, man.
Yeah. Sorry about that. No, but it stressed that kid out a lot. There was some days where it just wasn't, it wasn't what I wanted it to look like, but it was hard, but it made me who I am. I was committed to Central Arkansas going into my senior year. It was one of my best offers, and they recruited me real hard. Those are great coaches. Committed there. And then Coach Eric Morris was at Incarnate Word. And in my mind, full transparency, I thought I was better. I thought if I was going to go FCS, I wanted to start right away. And, I'm still a senior in high school. Every senior in high school thinks they're the best thing under the sun. And I did, and I was wrong, but I was like, Cam Ward's there. Like, I'll go. I'll have to sit, But then he went up to Washington State, so did Cam. And, I'll sit at Power 5. I'll wait. I'll wait my turn. And he reoffered me, which meant the world to me, because if he's going to offer me at FCS level, he must really like me, because he could go offer somebody else with, higher ranking, but he didn't. He reoffered me, and then went there, knew I was going there right when he offered me, and then sat for 2 years, and it worked out.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And you get grouped in with a lot of those guys, like Cam Ward, obviously, from at Washington State, and people comp you to Baker a lot, like dudes that just kind of have a chip on their shoulder. Yeah. Is that your style, or would you say that's the same deal for you in terms of how you operate?
I mean, I would say, going back to that kid again, he had a huge chip on his shoulder. And I know I'm the same guy, but it's kind of morphed. I think I just had the chip so long that so many people doubted me that it just morphed into how I normally think. It's not because of, this and that, like these people, because now, you included, I'm getting a lot of compliments.
Media's the worst, dude.
It's the worst. And that's why I try to stay out, because all the positive stuff it's not going to help me in the end. I try not to be cocky, but I wouldn't say I lack confidence. But so all the good stuff, it would just add and add, and I don't need to hear it. Nobody really needs to hear that. I mean, and so that's why I try to stay off of it. But I think the chip has just turned into how the everyday is. That's just how the work ethic is, because I'm just got used to it.
And Coach Coos said that he's giving you a little bit of some material in your locker every other day.
Yes.
Walk us through that. Talk us through that.
Yeah, so he would do the work going on Twitter. He would find one positive tweet and one negative tweet. It would be a top 10 SEC quarterback ranking that I wouldn't be on. And then it would be another one that would say John Mateer's going to win the Heisman.
Sure.
It would be the two polar opposites, and it would be it doesn't matter. There was a quote on the top. It says, he's going to be mad at me. I forgot it. But it says something about.
But it's every day, right? You're getting a lot of these.
Every spring practice.
Gotcha. Okay. I won't cut you off.
15
Yeah.
different ones.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's don't get caught up in it. It doesn't matter. Go to work. That's what it's about every day. And I love it. It's great. And I took them and I put them on my garage wall. I got a little gym in there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What are your? I know obviously you hold yourself to a high standard. Yeah. What's it been like getting to Oklahoma, and what are your expectations for yourself in 2025?
I think getting to Oklahoma was great. It was kind of humbling in the fact that I was one of the best athletes at Washington State. I was, and I played like it. Here, I wouldn't say that's the case. These people we got some freak athletes on this team, and that's, I guess, just how the SEC is, I guess. But it's great because I have to get better, and I have to, level up, and lifting with two linebackers, Oma Heineke and Sammy, and they're strong, So I'm over there, I'm trying to,
Yeah. What lift are we doing? We're talking squat? We're squatting with linebackers, or what kind of lift?
Both days I squat. I don't bench with them. I'm trying to be smart.
You take care of
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel you.
But squat with them, hang clean with them, everything, and I mean, they put more weight on, but I'm still there with them, and it's a lot of fun. But it's great. I expect good things. I think my confidence comes from the work that I put in, and I think I put in a good amount of work. Me and the whole team, we've been working real hard, and everybody wants to succeed real bad.
Well, it feels like, that's the last question for you. It feels like you kind of have an edge to you, a swag to you. Is it fair to say you're bringing the swag back to Oklahoma?
I mean, yes. Go order those. Yes.
You're bringing the swag back, bro? They got this deal. Got the headband, which is nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't wear this and not have swag.
Yeah.
So I see my quarterback wearing this.
Yeah. I will be wearing those on game days.
Talk me through that. It's a state of mind. It's an edge.
No,
talk me through the swag a little bit.
I like the headband because it just looks good, feels good, keeps the sweat out of my eyes, keeps the hair in a good place. And then the logo is just it's the logo.
Let's go.
You got to know, spread the logo, let everybody see it. No, that's pretty bad. Appreciate that.
Got you.
But I mean, I wouldn't say I'm bringing the swag back until if I say it, it's not, it'll ruin it.
Johnny Swags, is that a good one? Did that stick? Just think about it. Sleep on it.
I don't know.
Sleep on it a little bit.
Okay.
Sounds like a no for Johnny Swags.
Probably wake up in a nightmare.
John Mateer, Oklahoma quarterback, brother. Appreciate your time. Appreciate the headband.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Media days, you try not to take too much from it because we're all talking into microphones and it's talking season. It's, no actual, there's no substance from what happens here that's going to translate to anybody winning a football game on Saturday. But when you sit down with some of these guys, get to look them in the eye, get to give them a dap or shake their hand. And I think there's something to be said for presence. I know that the word that's kind of floating around with the younger generation is aura. John Mateer, presence, aura, swag. I don't care if no one's saying swag anymore. He's got that. Doesn't mean that you're going to win football games. But I do think that a quarterback without that is at a deficit. I'll say that much. Florida was on Radio Row and at SC Media Days yesterday. And I think it's always interesting. A lot of things get said at media days whenever a team is there, a head coach takes the podium. It's kind of the point of this whole thing. But I think you usually can take a common theme from what they say and kind of get a temperature from that theme as to how their team is approaching the season. The theme and the big takeaway that I drew from Billy Napier and what he said here at media days is internal belief. Phase 2, if you will, like that nice lower third says right there. Like Billy Napier, when he got the job at Florida, it was a very difficult situation, I think, from what the roster had on it. That was one thing. That was one reason why this time a year ago, we're saying, hey, give Billy Napier some time, man. This is not a furnished apartment he's moving into. You still got to put some things in place. Now you fast forward the tape a few years later. I think they believe, and based on what happened at the end of the year, there's reason to believe that Florida is in a spot where they can actually go do some real damage. Now, I don't want to ride the fence because I still want to see a larger sample size. I've said that many times throughout the entirety of media days. I want to see more before you punch a college football playoff ticket, but it doesn't matter what I think. I think, again, what I just said, there is real deal internal belief in how they feel about themselves in Gainesville. And y'all, it's kind of a buzzword. It kind of sounds cliche. It matters. It matters. You don't play a college football game and hope you win during the week and hope that good things are happening for you during the week. Like it's a thing where you better trust everything you've done leading into the week, trust everything you've done from a process perspective, and then go execute on Saturday. There's no hoping you win on Saturday. If you're hoping, you've already lost. And I think from the way that Florida talked about their process, their offseason, how they finished last year, I think there's actual real deal belief and confidence. And just what I said, that took time to hone. Like you can do the right things, but it takes some time to actually see the fruit from that. And so when we look at Florida, man, they've stuck to the script. And now they expect to get real results, what I just mentioned a second ago. Last year was a lot of, I think, the completion of phase 1. Like I look a lot at, building a college football program. You can build a program, but you build a program, takes some time, different phases. Last year was putting the foundation of what Florida football is truly going to be under Billy Napier into place. We're patching the floor. And the floor now, I think, for Florida is at 6-6. It's not bad. I mean, I think a year ago, especially with that schedule, with a second-year starting quarterback, 6-6 isn't like the worst thing in the world. Now, I think it would be a disappointment relative to how they finished last year and to what this team is capable of. But again, it's the floor. I'm not talking about what they're going to do, but that's the floor. But you look at what this upcoming year is supposed to be about. This is the year where you start to build up. To stick to this metaphor, you put real weight on that foundation, and so there's a excitement and also a danger in where Florida's at right now. It's called stakes. All right. Because if Florida in this year doesn't accomplish what they're supposed to accomplish. Let's say they go 6-6. Roof falls in. I don't know what would have to happen for that to be the case. I guess the schedule is just brutal, so it's, college football happens. But if that happens, think about all just the bad vibes. I'm getting to the good vibes in a second, but let's talk about the bad vibes for a second. Hey, you had a guy that we were all projecting to be one of the top quarterbacks in the conference, if not college football, coming into the season. What happened there? And we talked about all the guys you brought back and all the culture and all those good things. What happened there? There's expectation for Florida. And with expectation comes the opportunity to also fail and have it kind of blow up in your face. And so if you're a Florida fan, you say, well, if we don't do it right now, if we don't see tangible steps towards that ultimate goal of winning a national championship and winning the conference this upcoming season, when's that going to happen, Coach? When are we going to make those moves? That's one part of it. The other part of it is Florida goes out and accomplishes what I think most people in Gainesville will expect them and hope for them to accomplish, which is you win right around 10 ball games. I don't know where that puts you in the conference title race, but I know it more than likely puts you in the college football playoff. And if that happens, we've talked a lot about the way that Florida's kind of a powder keg of sorts right now. I think I think recruits are looking for a reason to commit to the school that plays in the conference that puts the most draft picks out, right? And you look at how talent-rich the state of Florida is. If you can be that team and you open the floodgates from a talent perspective when it comes to a pipeline to your school, Florida's cooking, y'all. Florida is a runaway train off the rails making stuff happen. Like Florida would then, I think, ascend from a talent perspective into that tier 1 of college football. Would it be next year? I don't know. Suppose it could. But if you start to stack some years on top of each other, we say this, like winning on the field relates to momentum more often than not, or the opportunity for momentum on the recruiting trail. That is, I think, exponentially amplified in a state like Florida with how rich that high school talent is in that state. So I think what I just said, the belief in the process, the things they talked about at the podium, which, again, it's just words, but you got this sense from Billy Napier. He really likes the work they've done over the course of this offseason. He likes the way they finished, and he likes where this team is at when it comes to their commitment to their way of doing things. Last thing I'll say, mentioning Billy Napier when he first got the job. You got to retool the roster, of course. I think what gets overlooked in our space, the talking space behind microphones, I think it's overlooked how important it is and how hard it is to install your way of doing things. Not just installing it. I mean, like having installation to the point where your locker room buys in. Teams get really good. They get like national title level good when the players are running it. I'll give you a story. Ed Orgeron in his book, I know Ed O, the jokes are flying, a little LSU story, but just roll with me. He talks about he didn't have to do much at all that year they won the national championship relative to like policing their team doing the right things. He's like, man, we turned it over to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was telling he would get upset when we didn't have a good practice, and he's getting on guys. Standards. When your team and your quarterback owns it, if DJ Lagway can take that next step and own that part of this whole equation with being a leader for Florida, or whoever you want to point to, Caleb Banks, if he's that guy, at that point, that's where you start to flywheel. That's where good things really happen for folks in Gainesville. And the way they were talking about it, with their process, their belief in it, there's no half-stepping for Florida in 2025. Say what you want about 7-5 last year. Say what you want about the way they finished. I've been very vocal. I want to see more. I want to see a larger sample size from them before I just totally put all my stock into Florida and say they're a playoff team and all that. But, like, doesn't matter what I think. They feel good. That felt very, very clear from how they operated during media days. And I'll say this, man. We always say we're excited to watch, but how can you not be excited to watch that roster, story arc with Napier, DJ Lagway? We're fired up. It's college football season, man. It's a beautiful thing. We move right along. Alabama, they made their appearance at media days on Wednesday as well. And I think listening to Kalen DeBoer talk, it was really intriguing. Not so much what they talked about, maybe more so what they didn't talk about. You know how many questions I heard asked to Kalen DeBoer relative to the talent of that football team? Zero. You want to know why? Because it'd be a dumb question. Hey, Coach, you got any concerns about your roster on defense? No. Now, do you have things you have to solve for throughout the course of a season? Is there a thing that's too much depth? Of course not, but you hear what I'm saying. Those aren't the pressing issues for Alabama right now. That's not what you're talking about relative to how good Alabama is going to be in 2025. you're talking about, okay, well, can they get the quarterback right? That's one part of it. But by and large, it's not a roster question for Alabama. The questions and the things that Kalen DeBoer was saying relative to Alabama and their success next year were buzzwords like growth, consistency, building on what last year was, honing into our own craft and how we do things. That next step, that's going to be the difference for Alabama, whether they play for the college football playoff or they miss the playoff again, and we're having a different discussion around what Alabama is under Kalen DeBoer going into his third year, this time next year at SEC Media Days. We had Paul Feinbaum on the show on Tuesday. Great conversation. That conversation is clipped on the YouTube channel, so go check that out. Also, while you're here, like Bama fans, subscribe to the On3 YouTube channel. But he said something that I don't know I totally had clocked just yet. Shout out Bieber. He said Alabama, at a roster level, I'm paraphrasing, is more talented than Georgia. Now, he didn't say Georgia's not talented. I think we all understand the way they've stacked top 3 classes in Athens, they're talented. But Alabama, arguably, outside of the quarterback positions, we don't know who's playing quarterback yet, is more talented, or at least as talented, as the SEC champs from a year ago. What does that tell you as to what Alabama has to do in 2025? What does that tell you as to what they could do in 2025, if that's true? And again, I think it is. It means that it comes down to all the other stuff for Alabama that Kalen DeBoer is speaking to. Growth, consistency, all those things. Like, you look back at, we've said this many times, look back at the losses for Alabama last year. How many were talent losses? Maybe one to Tennessee. More talented than Vandy. More talented than Oklahoma. Took your eye off the ball. And so you talk about the other stuff. Kalen DeBoer, over the course of his career, when he gets his culture installed, not to harp on culture, make this the culture show, but I think it matters. It's kind of what he does, right? 8-0 in one-score games in 2023 for that Washington team. They were talented, right? So was Alabama. Do you have Michael Penix Jr. playing quarterback? I mean, yeah, that's a fair rebuttal. But I think the point stands. When it comes down to those close games, and it's about the margins, it's about one score, is your team poised enough? Is your team internally disciplined enough to go make the plays, have the killer instinct to go win the football game? Kalen DeBoer's had teams that do that. I'll say this too. Kalen DeBoer, look at who he has a undefeated record against when it comes to coaches. 6-0 combined versus Steve Sarkisian, Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning. All 3 of those dudes, I would argue, are top tier in college football. Kirby Smart is the best coach in college football right now. Look at his natties. Steve Sarkisian is operating like one of the best coaches in college football. Same thing with Dan Lanning. Like, Kalen DeBoer, once he gets rolling, I say rolling, once he gets to that second year, those losses that have nothing to do with talent, I think, start to fade into the back a little bit. All right? You talk about his overall record as a coach in FBS. He's got 13 losses total. 9 of those 13 losses came in his first year out of place. Again, what does that tell you? Give him time, give him runway, get that culture in the right spot. If the talent is there, and it's there at Bama, I know it's the SEC, but it is top-tier talent, then you're in a really good spot to go get what you want to get done. So as you kind of position this discussion to how Alabama gets to that spot, it's fair to have all the pressure on Kalen DeBoer. And I think he understands that too. I think he signed up for all the pressure and then some when he took that job after Nick Saban. Like, he knows what it is. But it's even furthermore because what I just said, that'll be the difference for Alabama in 2025. And you talk about actual football conversations, it comes back to the quarterback. Who is responsible, or who are we probably looking to most frequently as the guy responsible for how the quarterback plays outside of the quarterback himself? Ryan Grubb? Yeah, maybe so. I look at Kalen DeBoer because that's kind of been how he's cut his teeth in this sport, right? It's kind of been his calling card. Talked about Penix already at Washington, Jake Haener at Fresno State. Like, I'm looking at whoever plays quarterback for Alabama as, hey, you're Kalen DeBoer's guy. You're a Kalen DeBoer coached quarterback. I'm putting, obviously, the pressure on the quarterback, but I think you put just as much pressure on Kalen DeBoer for him to perform. And so one thing that I'm curious to watch with whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Ty Simpson, I expect it to be him, Austin Mack, Keelan Russell. Kalen DeBoer said something at Media Days relative to the battle because he got 1,000,001 questions about it. He said, all of them have the tools. All of them have the tools. What does that mean? I interpret that to mean as all of them can make the throws we want to make. All of them are good enough in the pocket, awareness-wise, agility-wise. They have the tools, video game attributes-wise, to run our system. So then what does it come down to? Presence, understanding the offense, being fluent in the offense, not just conversational, which you've talked about before, knowing how to get from your first read all the way to your third or fourth read, whatever the play requires. But how do you make sure you have the most prepared quarterback to choose, to go with the right guy that game when you play Florida State on the road to open this thing up? I think the best coaches in the sport make sure they maximize their battles. And what I mean by that is if you had a Nick Saban coached football team and there was a position battle, you knew that not just the best player was going to play, but the most prepared player was going to play. You knew that if you won a battle on those old Alabama teams on your roster and you were the right guy for the job, you had gone through the heat of adversity during that battle. You had gone through the heat of competition during that battle. And because of that battle, you were the best player for that job. Not just you won the job because you made the most throws or the most plays. That's part of it too. But I think as long as you are treating this battle the right way and applying the proper pressure to the battle, you then put whoever it is, Simpson, Mack, Russell, the names, you put them in the best position to be successful once they do win the job. So I think that's going to tell us a lot about Kalen DeBoer's process and how he does things and all that, because this battle, I think it's the most important position battle in all of college football right now. Full stop. If you win this job and you're a dude at quarterback, Alabama has a roster to go win a national championship outside of the quarterback. But the quarterback is the most important position in sports because you touch the football every freaking play. So that's the big thing for Alabama. We saw what it was last year with inconsistency at quarterback. I think it will be Kalen. I think it will be Ty Simpson for Kalen DeBoer, excuse me. But Alabama's in that Uncle Ben territory right now, man. Kalen DeBoer, Uncle Ben territory from Spider-Man. Peter, with great power comes great responsibility, baby. Right, Kalen DeBoer, and he knows this. I'm not saying anything he doesn't know. People in Tuscaloosa don't know. Great roster talent comes great responsibility, great expectations. I think Bama is probably the most fascinating story in college football right now because of that. But I was very intrigued, and I think had the realization today during this Media Days session with Alabama. I said yesterday, I should say. That will be the difference. Can you do those things for your quarterback, for your football team, to make the difference? Not about talent. It's the other stuff. DeBoer's done it before. Does he do it again? Remains to be seen. Now, the other day when Arch Manning and Texas rolled through here, it was like madness. Now, I said this. I've never been to SEC Media Days with a Tim Tebow or a Johnny Manziel. But I got to think the Arch Manning effect here in Atlanta when he rolled through SEC Media Days was like at least a cousin of what those guys had around them. Maybe on par with it. I don't know, because social media is a whole other thing that's elevated since those guys were in college. We say a lot with Arch Manning, hey, the last name doesn't matter. It doesn't. If his last name was Johnson, he'd still be a 5-star guy, and he'd still be a guy at Texas that was a guy with a lot of potential and expectation, and that's true. But you know what? There'd be a lot less fanfare, be a lot less hype. But the more I see of Arch Manning in front of the media, the poise, the presence, the confidence, the normalness, if I can even say that, the more I like the guy, the more I buy into, I think, what he's proverbially selling here when it comes to his success in 2025. You know why? Because he's been trained for this his entire life. His entire life, Arch Manning has been, I should say, prepared for something like this. Like, I'll say this. You know how many times Arch Manning rolled up to a youth soccer game or a youth basketball game growing up, and people are like, oh, that's Peyton's nephew. Oh, that's Eli's nephew. Oh, it's Archie's grandson. Every single time he's rolled up anywhere, probably going to the local McDonald's, there's been a little bit of like whispers like, yeah, it's him. That's him. So over time, you learn how to handle that. And I think it's the same thing for Arch, man. Like when you roll up to SEC Media Days, you're like, yeah, it was a lot. It was like borderline boy band kind of crowd around the guy. You could tell where he was in the building based on where the volume was coming from. You got people down there in the lobby in College Football Hall of Fame yelling, Arch, Arch. Like it was wild, dude. It was something that transcended what a college football media days is even typically. But you do that enough, like again, you get accustomed to that. You get prepared for that. You have to learn how to handle that. And so I say all that to get to this point. Football at the end of the day, at the highest level, talent is a non-negotiable to go win national titles, win conference titles, especially in the SEC. We all get that. If you want to go win a national championship, you got to be top-tier talent. It's not a game of Florida Gulf Coast, no disrespect, going on runs and being in the Final Four like it is in college basketball. You have grown men hitting each other. But I think what really separates when the margins are closer when it comes to talent is what you have upstairs. And if football is played between the ears, I like the way that Arch Manning is from what I can gather between the ears. Now, he hasn't played a snap yet as the dude at Texas as the full-time starter just yet. I understand that. Started some games last year, looked good, but he hasn't had the pressure of being the guy just yet. But basing what we know about him physically and physical gifts and the talent he has being projected to be top tier with the mental makeup I get from the guy, with how he answers questions, with him being pretty low-key and mild-mannered, again, being normal, like that gives me a lot of confidence that when it's the fourth quarter against Ohio State and it's 2-minute drive to go win the football game, he's not going to have a sped-up heart rate. Now, it'll be new to some extent, so I'm not saying he won't have any growing pains, but I think that once he gets the hang of it, I think he's going to have a very, very quick learning curve for the guy. That excites you, obviously, you're a Texas fan because you're like, great, sat a couple of years, we like the mental makeup, cool, should translate to success at some level his first year as a starter. But take it another step further. What about when he has success? What about when the accolades do come and Texas does find themselves in the SEC title game or the college football playoff? I am as excited about how he's going to handle that success. Because he's had it his whole life. The attention, the spotlight, this isn't new to my guy. And credit the Manning campus we have many times with the way they have almost like, I hate to use the word tutored, but like they've been very, very calculated in how they have positioned him to be in a spot where he is right now. And there's been a lot of guys that have blown up quick and not handled success well. I think you could argue Carson Beck is in that camp a year ago based on the things that we heard around the vibe for him around Georgia. Not to dunk on Kenny Hill. I loved the excitement around him. Didn't handle success all that well from what I could gather. Like when Arch does get his shot, does get his chance to go roll and make plays, I think he's going to handle success well, which to me makes me feel confident about him sustaining success over the course of his career at Texas. So the last name, it matters. The last name Manning matters because with that last name comes the pressure throughout his life, comes the pedigree, comes the tutelage from those individuals in his life that have played football at the highest level and been, public at the highest level too in terms of the scrutiny and the pressure and all those things. And all of that to me combines to like the total Arch Manning experience that we're getting here and feel more confident in him here as we move forward and move headfirst into the 2025 college football season. So is he going to win the Heisman Trophy his first year? I don't know. No idea. But if he did, I think he'd handle it well, and I think that he would be the same guy as he was today here at SEC Media Days. I keep saying today, as he was this week at SEC Media Days. All right, man. Hey, we appreciate y'all being dialed in. It is so, so cool to get to do this for a living. Like, it is not lost on us. So if you're watching from home or watching during work or whatever you're doing, like we appreciate y'all making this show what it is and being a part of this. All right. We are going to leave y'all now with a conversation with TexAgs' very own Billy Liucci, talking about Marshall Reed, talking about Mike Elko year 2, and just how good A&M potentially could be here in 2025. Because I told y'all, man, I think they're a sleeper, massive sleeper in that conference. So for myself, Jody PICKELL, for Caden Smith on the ones and twos, making everything you see here happening. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will keep this party rolling. Stay dialed into the podcast feed. Little Easter egg there. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We'll keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time here at SEC Media Days with TexAgs and the man who carried the Johnny Manziel documentary, Billy Liucci. Billy, how we doing, man?
Glad to have you
here. This is great.
Hey, I feel like I'm stepping into a little star turn here. I told you I watch your stuff constantly. I'm like, we need more of it. We need more of the analysis, more of the just you got some good opinions.
Well, I appreciate that.
You do.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's going to be a fun year, hopefully, for a lot of positive opinions around A&M. Like overall, I feel like there is always this cloud from the outsiders around A&M.
Yeah.
As an insider, someone who follows it, as closely as anybody in the world. What is your analysis of A&M in 2025?
I think they take a small step forward in 25. And by that, I mean, the Texas 8-4, it's people say it and they say it because there's some ring to it that rings true. There's a lot of 8-4 seasons. I heard someone, they were on our show and I just, it was too short an interview to go into the weeds with it. They said, yeah, it's been such a struggle for them since they've been in the SEC. I don't think that's been the case at all. If you look in the 13 years, I think they might have the 4th best record in the league during that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they consistently don't ascend above that. So they've been very consistent, and they've been consistently solid, not special, right?
Sure.
And Aggie fans want special. I think, the people that pay the salaries and the buyouts want special, the facility. And Mike Elko wants special. I think they took a great first step last year. I think people underestimate how good a first season in the SEC for a head coach that was. And I think he'd be the first one. He'll probably say it tomorrow. They have to take another step this coming season, because at the rate they're recruiting and how much commitment there is in College Station, like you can't stay stagnant, even though it's just year 2. They have to take that step. I think they will. I think they bring back a lot of experience. They bring back, not to say any first-round picks, they bring back a lot of NFL guys, which they didn't have last year. And I like the quarterback. I like him a lot. He does have to take a significant jump, but I think he's more than capable of doing that.
You mentioned the small step. People that I think follow this sport know this, but again, people that just live in the headlines forget A&M is a game away from playing for the conference against Georgia in Atlanta. And so to say they struggle in the SEC against Texas, run it back, I mean, that would have been phenomenal to see. I mean, A&M at that point, Mike Elko's first year. And so the math to me doesn't totally track on that. You mentioned Marcel Reed. How do you expect the offense to look different with him now having a full spring, a full fall camp to build it around what he does well?
Well, and I'll tell you, one win from that Atlanta game, I'll tell you, if they tackle Peyton Thorne on 4th and 3 or 4 against Auburn, that game's over and they're there, regardless of that Texas result. So, not to say they were the second best team in the SEC, but you make a great point there and how close they were to people going, oh, what a hell of a first season. And you mentioned Marcel Reed, how close they were to saying that about Marcel when he led A&M down the length of the field for a touchdown in the closing moments against Auburn, only to give it up on the defense. He led them down the field in the final 2 minutes against USC for a touchdown, walked it in himself, only to have the defense blow it. If they get 2 4th down stops, how much different is this conversation about number 10? How do I see him look different? I think what we need to see is just a more confident. You know this. You evaluate this stuff a lot. He was so confident in that LSU game, and when it was going good for him last year, you could see that confidence build in the swamp, in
cold-blooded.
Second half against Auburn on the road. He led him back from 21-0 to essentially win the game.
Yeah.
When he gets that rolling, so I think you need to see more of that. Like the ball snapped, he sees it. He sees the guy come open, cuts it loose. Doesn't hesitate. He needs less hesitation in his game. And I think if he and Colin Klein have put in enough work to where it becomes a little more second nature to him. Because remember, he wasn't supposed to start last year.
No.
He wasn't ready to at the start of the year. So I think that's the biggest jump. And if you do, then I think then you see him confident, take off running more, see it open up and just go without, worrying that, hey, I've got to sit back here and be a pocket pass. I just play more freely because he's confident that he knows what he's seeing.
That was what excited me, seeing him in the Florida game. Like, the build-up to that game is kind of where he's going to play. Is he not? I don't know when he found out. I think David Nuno said it was like that morning he finds out, walks out there in a gross weather game in one of the toughest places to play in college football in the swamp, and he was just like backyard football. Like serial killer kind of composure. I was like, that guy, if he's pulling the trigger, like he might be a little bit different. Does it feel like it's Marcel Reed's team in your mind? Because I know that's a big thing right now in, the locker room of all that.
I don't think so yet. And I don't mean that as an insult, because I think it will be Marcel's team. I just think starting 6 games or whatever it was, and they ended the offseason on a 1-4 streak.
Yeah.
I don't think it's I wouldn't go that far yet, but I will answer that by saying I think it will be. I think when we sit here, if we were sitting here mid-season, you said, is this Marcel's team? I would say it is now. And I think next year at this time, he's here as a captain and a third-year returning quarterback that everyone's talking about. I just think people forget, JD, how young and inexperienced he is. And we see a ton of that around the league, right? But look, like you said, he showed it against Florida. He was nasty. Think about getting benched. Not benched. He didn't get benched. He was playing well.
Passed over.
Giving the job back to Connor for a top 10 game. Watching Connor slice and dice that and go, man, I might not get my job back. Keeping your head up, and then 2 weeks later, your team's losing, and you get thrown into the second half. And I mean, he's got a lot that you can't coach up here, and in terms of his composure,
which has got to be so exciting for a Mike Elko, and that's kind of where I want to get your final thought on this. Like, for me personally, maybe I'm an overly optimistic person just as a default. Like
you are, but we like that around here.
That's just how I think having played the game, I'm just like, man, it can change fast. It's human beings playing the game. It can change fast. When you look at A&M in their first season, the Mike Elko, I'm like, okay, as long as that dude is in charge of the program and he's a defensive guy, I feel good about the defense. Fair or unfair?
I think that's fair, and I think he's shown that at Wake Forest, which got him a job at Notre Dame, and he showed it at Notre Dame, which landed him at A&M under Jimbo. He showed it for 4 years at A&M, then he showed it at Duke. It wasn't up to his standard this past season. They weren't terrible, but at times they were. I can name you some good games, but at times their inability to stop opposing offenses cost them football games. I can think of USC. I can think of Auburn, South Carolina when they couldn't tackle Sellers. So I think that was really about it. I think they might have tired out during the season a little bit. They might have not had the depth they need. But I think more than anything, he wasn't happy with just them playing assignment football and doing the things that he expects them to do. So, I think the secondary is going to be the most improved unit on the team. So that's a great start. And B, he just said, this wasn't good enough. I'm going to reinsert myself into the position of essentially being the defensive coordinator, play caller. And he's going to do that now. So a lot of people go, well, that's what that's what Steve Sarkisian does in Austin on offense. Elko's going to do the same thing on defense. It's going to be his defense, and he wants his fingerprint on it much more so than it was last year.
I can't wait to watch it. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
a fun year.
I'm fired up about that. And then the one thing we didn't talk about that I think is if A&M is one of these teams that, when I say take a step, I mean like 9-3.
Yeah.
And if they're able to do that or get that one more win and be in the playoff discussion, which there's a pack of teams that somebody's coming out of that, right? Mm-hmm. You and I could probably name 6 of them.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And it's one of those. If they're to get there, it's going to be on the strength of what you just talked about, a really improved defense. But I also think that ground game could be the best in the SEC.
I agree. I 100% agree. I guess, like, numbers-wise, I know, Tennessee ran for 200 yards a game, whatever, but, like, I think just what they have talent-wise, better than anybody. It's deep.
O-line,
you might be under the pool, man.
Think about O-line, running back, Marcel the run threat, and what Colin Klein likes to do.
It's going to be nice. Yeah. It's going to be nasty. Billy Liucci here in Atlanta. TexAgs. Appreciate all the time, man.
All right. Thanks, Shady. Appreciate you.